Hello everyone and welcome to your Masters in Management Module 3. Today we'll be discussing operations management and we're here with Dr. Ronald Kushkiri who will be sharing his expertise on the topic. Dr. Kushkiri, thank you for being with us today.
Yes, thank you.
Great. So we'll get right to our questions.
Yes.
My first question for operations management is, what is the definition of operations management?
Basically, in any context, operations management is the science and the art of ensuring that goods and services are created and delivered successfully to the customers. Actually, operations management manages all resources to achieve the right customer service through a set of performance objectives. Typical objectives are speed, responsiveness, cost, specification, flexibility, technology, quality, and so on. And this is done through a process as defined by the operations strategy within the operations management itself. So one cannot exclude the importance of the business strategy or the corporate. If it is a multinational company, for example, since they direct the operations strategy boundaries and policies. Ideally, operations strategy also contributes to refine the business strategy in the other way around. So the strategy design must be bidirectional, top-bottom and bottom-up, so as to promote improvement in the competitive performance of the organization. So both the business strategy and the operation strategy need to work together also with the other functional strategies like marketing, accounting, etc. And everything must match, must be aligned to design and implement the right overall single strategy and matching all strategies in one. So basically our topic is operations management. The operation strategy is one of the core strategies, not because I am teaching this lecture and this module, but because the business it deals with quite a number of people. The operations refer to people, refer to equipment, to refer to resources, to refer to technology, interaction, customers. So it's quite a complex environment which must fit within the organizational setup of all the organization. Imagine, for example, a hospital with all the staff, with the patients, the primary care, secondary care, operations, interventions, surgeries, all along every day, or for example, a telecoms company with all the customers who need to deliver the internet service to their homes. So there is the computers, the cables, so all these people are trying to operate and maintain the overall hardware and software of the company. So to conclude this definition, I mean basically there is the all functional areas, the marketing, accounting and IT. They have the expertise, but they all need to be managed through operations. So there is a level of operations management in all their processes and activities through a planned and time-based controls sequence of tasks to promote effective and efficient operations. So operations management runs everywhere. It must be managed effectively and efficiently to be sustainable and competitive. So to conclude, hence, I mean operations management is about how to manage the operations of any functional area. It's not only about the operations functional area, but every area to promote efficiency, effectiveness, among other performance criteria such as competitiveness, innovation, viability, the customer service, the people management themselves. So a typical staff, which are operations managers, can be store manager, logistics manager, administrative manager, accounts managers, and you can keep on saying these type of roles. So this module will be dedicated on the operations functional area, but it will not exclude any other functional area that uses operations management. And the key resources, just to close out, of operations management are mainly four. There are others, obviously, but the process, the people, the technology, and the information. All these elements need to contribute to the performance objectives, as already referred, of quality, speed, etc., etc.
Okay, thank you. And for my next question, what are the theories used in operations management?
Yes, basically the most popular or key theory which is used is the resource-based view. Resource-based view refers to the use of the resources, how they provide the edge needed in all operations. such as the process design, if it incorporates value-added services that no one can imitate, or else produce a product that distinguishes itself from the rest of the products in the market, or else adopt a well-trained people that give the service experience as unique and exceptional, or the information given is very useful and explores all details to create information visibility that gives an edge to the employee or to the customer, himself or herself. Or finally, the technology used in the product, which gives the value-added features that even exceed the customer's expectations. So the four elements, as referred, above, are the process. What is the process? It's the sequence of activities and the tasks that make up those activities that include both formal, informal, to carry out such tasks. The people themselves, who are the human element, the individuals, their skills, their competencies, that are involved, as well as the broader values, culture, political context of the organization with its management and leadership approach. And the last two is the technology, the material, the information, the people processing employed within the operating system. And finally, the information that obviously underpins control and coordination of all the operations, where it flows between all staff, customers, and even across the supply chain to promote information visibility.
Okay, thanks. And what is the cycle of steps adopted by the operations management approach?
Yes, basically the operation management is a cycle of activities that involves the design to meet the product or service needed with either the current products or new products within the current market or a new market based on either low cost or at a premium cost. Then there is the need of the planning and control of all operations, such as when to deliver the items, the date, the time. It depends on the sector. And also the inbuilt quality, so that the aspect of control is kept at a minimum. Because nowadays we are living in an era of a quality-based approach, total quality management. So control must be minimized and must be embedded within the whole process. And also to promote quality assurance. And finally, you need to improve. There is always room for improvement. So the whole process of operations need to adopt a total quality management to promote innovation and improvement. So the process is complex, since it can be seen as a supply chain perspective, which not only includes the firms, but all the supply chain players that form the overall organization setup. So I really confirm that the cycle is made up from the design, planning, control, and improvement.
Okay. And what would you say are the operations management process design dimensions? And could you explain how an operations manager tackles such dimensions to enable the right customer service as well as to meet the objectives?
Exactly. So the operations management process varies. It can be classified into 4 dimensions. It can take others, but basically the 4 dimensions try to capture all how management shall tackle them. So he must give a careful eye on these 4 V's, they are called. They are volume, they are variety, visibility, and variation. So about the volume, within the operations management, there is obviously sectors which produce high volume. So this will lead to product and services which use a systematic approach. It is a repeatable process. It is a standard approach. So that all this leads to more efficiency and try to capture low cost per unit because of this large volume. But from the perspective of the people, there will be less creative jobs, less rewarding. Why? Because staff, to be motivated, needs to include learning on the job and out of the job, and with interesting jobs. But this is volume, this is mass production and not job operations, as we will see during the course. Why? Because the job operations like building a cruise liner and comparing it to mass producing Coca-Cola bottles or Playmobil toys. The latter is repetitive. The job operations are more, motivating because they are something which are, unique. So this is about volume. The other dimension is about variety. The difference in the service approach, which is being given to the customer. Let's take, for example, a bus service or a taxi service, or a first class, economy class flight, a first class versus an economy class flight service. So in case of the taxi, it is flexible with respect to what? Flexible to the routes to be passed, the pickup time, the customer needs, the pickup point, the communication with the customer. When compared to the bus driver, you cannot talk to the driver. So there is quite a variety. Though the cost of the travel by taxi is more expensive. So the bus is more standardized and has less customer contact. And obviously the same applies to the first class and an economy class flight, where the interaction with the hostess differ. The other two are visibility. So you try to see the service. Is the process exposure to the customer, such for example, in a restaurant, there is open plan kitchen to show, to demonstrate the staff cleanliness, the expertise of staff, or else the customer involvement in the service. Like, for example, a customer can see the fish before it is cooked, or for example, a dentist, he or she will show you the teeth, the decay, and then after the final, obviously, result, which will be the improved healthcare treatment. The last one is the variation, refers to the demand. Everybody knows there are seasons, peak and low season. So this will cause operations management to manage capacity so that it can meet and match the season demand. So one has to vary his operations or her operations, depending if, for example, hotel bookings, restaurants in prime areas, etc. So one has to undertake forecasts so that the variation will be kept to a minimum, and you will cater through an effective capacity management to meet the demand. Basically, these are the all 4 V's above, which need different approach to design the operations management to be done by operations manager.
Okay.
Good.
Great. Which are the operations management key performance targets to remain in business?
Yes, basically there must always be targets, because there is a saying that what gets measured gets done. Mm-hmm. But basically, such an operation strategy needs to perform in line with the triple bottom line. Today, it's known triple P. It's the people, planet, and profit. This perspective is very important today because we need to protect the environment. Everybody knows about the environment, which must in turn fit with the business strategy. So there must be a strategic fit with the business strategy and the triple bottom line. All the dimensions, they are 3 in all, as we will see soon. So basically the KPIs need to be cascaded from the top management to all management levels through such performance targets. And why? To promote effectiveness and efficiency in all operations. So this triple bottom line perspective is needed nowadays in all operations, since business must not only consider the profit, the financial aspect, but also need to treat employees and the community with respect and support. Promote, for example, safety at work. Create fail-safe working methods. Safety is very important. Hazards need to be avoided. It's about occupational health and safety. Even fumes, danger, exposure to risk. There are standards today, ISO of 45,000 about the safety issues. There is also then the green approach, the environment, the ISO 14,000, which all processes must respect. They need to generate less waste. They need to protect the environment against carbon footprint, against percentage waste per product. So there must be targets always on the go so that you will achieve this triple bottom line. So this means basically that in practice, the product design, material sourcing, selection, the manufacturing, the processes, the product itself, and even the end-of-life management of the product before being wasted, that there is the need to adopt an operation strategy that protects the environment and must not only be seen as a cost, but it is a social responsibility where customers today give a key concern on the green measures adopted by any business before they buy a product or a service. So clearly this involves major changes in the way in which both design and operation occur. So this leads to the importance of operations management from a triple bottom line perspective.
Okay, great. For the next question, does an operations strategy change in time? And would you say, is it a planned approach, or are there other ways to manage a challenge or change?
Yes, basically the operation strategy is in line with the business strategy and may take different forms to meet different timelines, such as short, medium, and long term, and may also vary between a planned and an emergent approach or a continuum. Why this variation? Because a planned strategy implies to manage a large amount of resources against a timeline. The emergent, on the other hand, is a strategic approach which needs to adapt the strategies to meet the needed changes. It is a real time. It is the just nearby future, maybe. So basically, consider a school or a college with respect to the typical operation strategy. You have the day-to-day running operations like the training, the classes, the timetable, registers, booking, attendances, but there is the medium term. You may involve in new classes, you may engage training of staff, you may employ a new employee, or you may include a promotion of a new course in the medium term. And obviously there is the long term. In operations, you can undertake expansion of the college, of the school, or include more computers, etc., etc. So furthermore, the operation strategy is normally planned. So you're planning day to day, medium, long term. But this is not only the case. A planned strategy, obviously, is done by Apple, Samsung, Microsoft. The EU itself is a very large organization with so many members. They have to plan. But they need to manage a large amount of resources. So you have to plan against a timeline. But sometimes, even such large companies have to keep in touch with the market changes to tweak or adapt their operating strategies to meet the needed changes, even in real time. So this is why the emergent strategic approach is important in the operation strategy or strategic management, as we call it. Hence, small business, such as SMEs, they use a lot of emergent strategic approach because they are small. They need to be flexible. They need to be dynamic and face the changes from time to time, even on a daily basis.
Okay. Why is operations management considered as an operating system?
Yes, basically it is an operating system because every system has an input, a process, and an output. These dimensions build the operating system model. Such operating system is based on a popular model, align, deploy, and operate. It's ADO model, which can be divided further in 6 components to be implemented more easily. So there is the intent, the intention, how we're going to align the system, the processes in this operating system, how you're going to design the system and processes, how you're going to implement it with the right timing, scheduling, optimization, which nowadays is very important, and using, obviously, people. So you have to implement through people. So you need to cope with the problems of people and overcome the resistance to change. Then you need to deliver the service, how to be, for example, consistent in the approach. And then you need to evaluate, you need feedback, you need control, so that all ongoing activities need to be monitored and reviewed. You need to compare to the scheduled performance measurement. You can use also data analytics, which is very popular, today with IT, and also ensure risk management so that you eliminate failures. And finally, the continuous improvement. So the outcome is improving the system and process performance. Typical measures are the TQM, Total Quality Management, Lean Six Sigma, Lean Management, and other, obviously, processes, which are all needed to achieve this competitive edge. So it's very important to remember that the operating system includes the feedback, the evaluation, the improvement, the control measures, so that there is a continuous improvement approach through such monitor and review mechanism, as referred by the ADO model, align, deploy, and operate, to promote competitiveness or excellence, achieve high targets. So this system is subjected to changes, changing trends. So one needs to adapt the operation strategy to this situation. So yes, this brings about the planned and emergent operations management approach. Such strategies are needed so that you cater for all improvements to manage all changes effectively and efficiently.
Okay. Speaking of effectively and efficiently, which are the key dimensions of the operating system to be managed effectively?
Yes, about the operating system, we'll outline briefly and we can explain them later on in this session, that the operations management strategies need to meet an effective and efficient customer service through mainly capacity management, where people and materials need to meet the demand based on the forecast or the orders, the scheduling, the allocation of works, the layout, the management, which needs to meet the time or date of the order. It depends if it's a fast food delivery, which is real time, or else a supplier order, which may take 1 week, 2 weeks. And also the inventory management, the stock, which needs to be managed efficiently to meet the demands and avoid stockouts, avoid complaints. But at the same time, ensure enough stock turnover and no idle stock. So basically, yes, the process, design, implementation, and delivery need to be managed effectively and efficiently, has to employ these 3 dimensions: capacity management, scheduling management, and inventory management.
Okay. Do the overall operations have different types of activities within the process?
Yes, basically, the operations management uses a framework based on 2 types of activities, primary and secondary, as referred in Porter's value chain or supply chain analysis, even referred today as the value system. Such activities need to be managed effectively and efficiently. It's all about value. You need to add value. You have to remove all non-value added activities so that all duplication checks, duplication works, repetitive motions, complicated processes need to be simplified, streamlined, so that excessive waiting times for customers, such as, for example, lean management, you have to remove all type of waste. This needs the contribution of all the supply chain players, which are made up from all explicit and implicit support and commitment. So this is the overall environment. So the primary process basically are the key activities involved within the business for the provision of goods and services to external customers, which includes sales, marketing, after sales, production, logistics. These primary processes may be divided into the pre-service, the point of service, and the after service of the operations. Such an approach can be seen in healthcare, for example. The pre-service refers when a patient needs to do all the preventive measures to remain healthy, with the media support, keeping all people aware, on the alert, what to do and not what to eat, for example. But then someday a person may end up as a patient. So this is the point of service, where the treatment starts by healthcare staff. So, and then afterwards there can be follow-ups. When the patient is discharged, he needs to attend to some weeks after for a follow-up. So the same applies for any business where there is the need of procurement of stock. Then there is the production, and then there is the after-sales service. So let me put a question now. How are the processes being managed by the business that you have selected? For example, a washing machine. You have trouble at home. When you phone the after-sales service, is it okay? Or you phone and then there are delays, excuses, and so on by the service provider. So this is the primary activities. The supporting activities or supporting processes, which are the activities that enable, that support the primary, which need to be there, are the human resources, recruitment, training, the payroll of the employees, which are internal. So basically, there is also, for example, technology, which must be there, so that all supporting activities will enable the primary activities. So remember that the value chain needs to be seen as a value system, which adds value. The overall team is made up of many players, and basically you have to decide either to make or to buy that product or that service, either do it in-house due to your core competencies, these are primary activities, or else outsource. So it depends. So it's very important that there are various situations, and one need to operate part of the supply chain, for example, in a low-cost country, or in a prime location, like for example a hotel in a main road. So basically, this is about flexibility, fast response, so that it is in line with the business strategy. So this is all about primary and supporting activities.
Okay. Does the operations management process have any limitations?
Yes, basically, all types of processes and operations, there will be bottlenecks. There will be constraints, there will be limitations. You have all the resources and capabilities to manage effectively, and sometimes you have to apply contingent measures. One may also add that a bottleneck may be a delay in production or supply overstock, what you're going to do about the stock, the pressure from customers, the low employee morale. So these are all problems. These are all constraints. There can be short and long-term constraints. So short-term mainly are there for a short period of time, but long-term can slow down production and even lead to problems of ineffectiveness and inefficiency. So furthermore, all operations need to be managed, not only bottlenecks, there are also critical paths. These can be also bottlenecks. Why? Because the critical paths are processes that take the most time. It needs to be given utmost importance since they determine the overall process performance. So the critical path need to be managed effectively and efficiently to promote more lean and timely streamlined approach so that you will have no bottlenecks at all.
Okay. What would you say are the most appropriate techniques for managing flow, capacity, and inventory?
Yes, basically, as I already referred, the issue of managing capacity, inventory, which are the key targets of operations management to promote an effective and efficient process, that everyone at any point in time was faced with an out-of-stock situation or a customer queue that never ends. One needs to manage flow of materials and a schedule of time of all tasks effectively, because there are components, sub-assemblies, completed products, materials, information, customers. So there is a supply chain perspective, okay? So this is all about the flow. Then there is the managing of the capacity. It is the production, the logistics that will produce and transport the products to the designed destination. Through a well-managed, obviously, shipments, tracking provisions, so that the customer is aware what's really happening. And the last item is the inventory of parts, raw materials, and also the finished goods. These are all managing inventory to ensure that all orders, target dates, and volumes are met. So the above key dimensions, as referred, needs to be measured for its efficiency, such as flow management, throughput time, throughput rate. All these are technical terms, and work in process, or queue, as we know it, everybody. So there is the flow. So queues are good for the business, but not good for the customers because they have to wait. A key objective is that sufficient capacity is a need to meet the demand while avoiding the need for excess resources. So there is always a trade-off, always exists. And one need to balance capacity, the resource utilization basically, versus the demand. So excess capacity will be there when the demand exceeds the normal levels, but then end up with excess stock or end up not to use or utilize such resources. So one needs to be careful about this matter. So capacity management may be solved by using an appointment system, for example, or introduce special rates of payments to attract customers to low season, so that peak demands are reduced, so that you minimize the queuing time of customers and also to minimize complaints due to such delays, so that the business operates effectively and efficiently. So sometimes customers can wait for their orders delivery while others do not wait. Just you need to communicate and inform them. So there are businesses that filter out customers, such as through information, like the queue time or offer times when queues are low. For example, the Gozo Ferry, there is a online reporting system, so people know, are aware, are informed that at that time there is a lot of queue. Like for example motorways that in Malta we don't have, but there are obviously information that there are a queue within that particular motorway in, for example, kilometers. And the last item is about inventory management, which deals with the inventory, which is defined as the accumulation of materials, customers, information. So there is this flow through the process. So nowadays, businesses are using lean management to minimize inventory, waste, and queue. So although inventory is used to cater for unforeseen demand or new orders, with faster delivery, one must also take care about exceeding inventory levels.
All right. Does operations management need to deploy performance management to compete in the market?
Yes, the issue of performance basically is very important. Why? It is defined as the achievement of a given task measured against standards. Everybody's looking for standards, for benchmarks, for cost, for efficiency. Although it may be considered as a cliche or not, measurement continues to be a key concern in controlling and improving performance. So you need to establish where you are, evaluating how the delivery systems are currently performing, comparing it with how one would like them to perform. So they provide a baseline for identifying where we need to improve. Example, the voice of the customer may give you the right feedback. Just ask him or ask her. You'll get the measures. So performance management is a process approach and needs to be seen from an organizational, a team, and the individual persons with the mentality or perspective to identify goals or level of performance. Then measure them, develop them in a continuous improvement approach to promote best practice. So this leads to the requirement of an effective performance management system applicable to all management levels with a set of KPIs based on best practices and benchmarks so that the business is competitive in the market and even excel in its operations. For example, what is your revenue per employee? That is a type of performance measure. So, or achieving low cost, for example, and efficiency, or promote innovation, less risk, less errors, less complaints. These are all typical measurements to achieve customer service excellence. And there are also measures about dedicated product features, quality-based features, high capacity utilization. So sometimes a business identifies critical success factors as the factors that are important for the success of the company, business objectives, and set up KPIs as a form of measures to determine the overall performance through concrete measures, values, such for example, flights meeting the target established time for dedicated routes is a critical success factor, but the KPI would be the number in a percentage form from all the flights that are really on time. So this is all about measurement. There are various scorecards, like the balance scorecard, which measures the business function in 4 dimensions, from a financial measures, customer service, internal process within the company, and also the learning and growth, the innovation of the company. So this is all about measures. Such measures may serve also to manage risks. One needs to identify any risk of failure by identifying the problems at source and including business continuity measure to eliminate or manage effectively and efficiently such risk. Risks can be transferred or can be, for example, terminated. You stop doing a task. Or sometimes you need to manage it through dedicated measures because they are important within the business performance.
All right. Does innovation also form part of operations management?
Yes, basically, innovation nowadays is part of everything and is also part of operations management. You cannot perform operations management effectively and efficiently by putting aside innovation. So there exists operation strategy innovation, the service innovation, how you deliver the service, the process innovation, how you operate within the company, the organizational innovation, how people work together through teamwork, etc. And also technological, the Internet of Things, how technology is being used within the company, the business IT alignment, and so on, intelligence. So such innovative measures transfer ideas and opportunities into concrete market and operation success. So you need to operate with lower costs or use a material with less cost. This is innovation. So remember, all businesses may adopt different innovative measures, ranging from early adopters to late adopters. So you can be a leader, you can be a follower, but innovation needs the capacity the resources to do it. Innovation also needs creativity, skills, expertise, and also motivation, commitment. So a simple example of innovative organizational approach is that a business with all its staff employ a system approach based on procedures, teamwork, coordination, collaboration, information, and knowledge sharing that all lead to innovation by introducing new ideas, new knowledge, and put it into practice with all the management support, where the management uses an empowerment style of management and leadership because the management trusts people and they are not treated as numbers. And to promote innovation, failures need to be accepted. They are part of the learning process to promote inspiration to all employees. And also such failures must not be treated as negative outcomes and blame people, otherwise all the innovation approach will fail.
Right. Is it true that the key to making a quality product is to develop quality people?
People remains the key resource, so people need to have the right knowledge, the expertise, engaged to deliver the right product or service. So the product or service, quality, cannot take quality for granted. So lean management, Six Sigma, business process, all revolve around people, through people expertise, through people commitment, etc., etc.
All right. And my last question for you, Dr. Kouchgiri, is what is the relationship of quality within the context of operations management?
Yes, we have already basically mentioned that the word quality in our discussion, being one of the process performance objectives. Mm-hmm. There are various other objectives. In that context, so the word is being used narrowly to refer to conformance or to meet the customer specifications. So in the context of quality management, however, the word takes much a broader meaning, since to be consistent, conformance to customer expectation, this is just the starting point. Mm-hmm. But there is quite a long list of quality dimensions, such as performance, how you perform, the features of the product or the service given, the value-added services, the reliability of the service, the durability of the product that you give. It will last long, for example. The ease of service, ease to maintain, ease to repair. So this is apart from conformance. So quality is about carrying out all operations correctly according to pre-established standards, procedures. There are the SOPs within the companies, service level agreements, customer charter programs, etc., with an aim of satisfying the customers to the right specifications and expectations. Such standards may refer to the ISO standards. And you can make reference to the environmental standards, as we mentioned already, the safety standards, and obviously the accounting standards, because as we said before, this is an issue of the triple or the triple bottom line.
Okay. So that pretty much concludes the questions for today, Dr. Kouchgiri. I'd like to thank you for your time with us. Thanks. So there you have it. Today we spoke about operations management. Our key topics included the definition of operations management. We looked into the different theories of operations management. We also looked into the cycle of steps the operations management process has, as well as its limitations. We also looked into performance measurement of operations, and we ended with innovation and quality as within the context of operations management. That's it for today. Thank you, and see you next time.
Thank you.